When you work in industrial automation long enough, you eventually run into this problem. You've got a perfectly good field device that only speaks Modbus RTU, and a modern SCADA system or controller that expects everything over Modbus TCP. Everything is wired, everything powers on, and somehow nothing communicates. And that's usually when the question comes up. What's the actual difference between Modbus RTU and Modbus TCP? And which one should you be using? So let's break this down in a way that actually makes sense for real projects. Modbus itself is just a language. RTU and TCP are simply two different ways of delivering that language. The easiest way to think about it is this. Modbus RTU is like using a walkie-talkie, and Modbus TCP is like making a call over the internet. It's the same message, but completely different means of transportation. Modbus RTU runs over serial lines like RS-485 and RS-232. And honestly, it's the reason why so many older systems still work today. It's simple, it's reliable in noisy industrial environments, and it's extremely cost-effective when you have a lot of sensors or distributed devices. A lot of environmental sensors, leak detection modules, and power meters still use RTU because serial communication is still hard to beat for stability. But RTU does still have its limits. You're capped on distance, you're capped on speed, and you're working in a daisy-chain network where every device shares the same line. If you've ever added one device and suddenly had to rethink your addressing or your terminations, you know exactly what I mean. Modbus TCP, on the other hand, takes that same Modbus language and moves it onto Ethernet. And once you're on Ethernet, everything changes. Higher speed, easier integration, multiple clients reading the same device at the same time, remote access, and the ability to build much larger, more flexible systems. This is why a lot of modern I/O modules and controllers are built with Modbus TCP in mind, because it plugs directly into the network infrastructure most facilities already use. Now, here's the obvious question. Which one should you pick? Well, to tell you the truth, it really depends on what you're building. If you're working with legacy hardware, short runs, or you need a low-cost, reliable field bus, Modbus RTU is perfect. But if you're building a modern system with centralized dashboards, remote access, or you need to scale over time, Modbus TCP is going to make your life so much easier. Now, here's where things get interesting. In most real systems, you don't get to choose one or the other. You usually end up with both. Maybe your environmental sensors are Modbus RTU, but your supervisory software only communicates over TCP. Or your power meters speak Modbus TCP, but half your field devices are still on serial. That mixed environment is completely normal. So what do you do when your devices can't speak the same protocol? Well, you bridge them. This is where Modbus gateways come in. A gateway takes Modbus RTU on one side and converts it into Modbus TCP on the other, so everything in the system can communicate as if it were speaking the same language. And the TGW series gateways are perfect for this. They sit right between your serial devices and your Ethernet network, quietly translating everything in real time without needing to reprogram or replace any hardware. It's one of the easiest and most cost-effective ways to modernize an existing system. Let's look at a common example. Imagine you're setting up monitoring for a server room. Your humidity sensors, your leak detection modules, or your power meters still use Modbus RTU, but your centralized software must connect via Ethernet. In that scenario, a Modbus gateway lets you pull all of that RTU data into one dashboard, set alarms, trend data, and expand later on without touching the wiring that already works. And if you also want that data to trigger automated responses, a controller like the Y series can take that Modbus information and act on it instantly. So here's the bottom line. Modbus RTU is great for field devices and simple serial networks, while Modbus TCP is great for modern, scalable, centralized systems. And most facilities use both, so bridging them is easier than ever thanks to gateways that handle all the heavy lifting for you. So if you're looking to integrate Modbus devices or convert between RTU and TCP, check out our Modbus I/O modules, gateways, and controllers at icp-usa.com. And if you want more practical engineering breakdowns like this, make sure you subscribe. We post new videos every single week to help you build smarter, more reliable systems.